Right, first and foremost, thank you very much for agreeing to do this. Been trying to get it to happen for a while, but thank you very much for sitting down with me. First things first, I wanted to kick it off with a 25-second life summary challenge.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is basically describe your journey from birth to where you are in 25 seconds. So I'm going to whip out a timer here and basically see if you can do that in 25 seconds. Ready?
Yep.
Good, go.
My name is Jamelia Donaldson, born May 7th, 1991. I always loved hair, makeup, beauty, business. I used to love dance a lot. Growing up, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Didn't get into the university course choice that I wanted, so I instead went for business.
Yep.
And then I eventually, after doing some traveling and working abroad, was able to tie business and beauty together.
Done?
To make TreasureTress, which is a monthly subscription box for women and
Great.
girls.
How'd you find that?
No, it's difficult.
I like it because it cuts the key moments straight away.
Yeah,
and obviously you've packed some incredible stuff within there, but not to start off with a cliche question, but why did you start TreasureTress?
For a few different reasons. One reason being that I hated the black hair shop experience, so I don't know if you've ever been.
I've been to PAX a few times.
Okay, well, there
that
you go.
counts, right? Cool.
Yeah, so that counts. I just don't necessarily like the shopping experience, and I feel like when white women get to go shopping, they get to go to like Space NK or like loads of mainstream stores where there's like bright lighting and clean shelves, whereas when black women go shopping, it's like dusty shelves, dim lighting, terrible customer service. And I was like, I don't understand why it has to be like that, especially when we spend so much. So that was like frustration number one. Frustration number two was access to high quality products and why they're so expensive. So in the hair shops, products can range from anywhere from like £15 to like £20 for really good products, which I understand you have to pay for quality, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think that it's the most effective way to find out what works for you. It would be a lot more effective if you could try.
Of course, yeah.
And then just stick with what you really, really like. I've got nieces.
Yeah.
And growing up, I used to want like straight long hair, and that was it. I didn't really see any beauty in like natural hair. But then when I went through like my teens and like really early 20s, I realized that like, wow, one, black women looks amazing with their natural hair. Two, there's so many things we can do with it. Three, it's like a really deep appreciation of culture and like your ethnicity. So I decided that I wanted to get into that, and I didn't want my nieces to grow up thinking that they needed to have straight hair in order to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to completely take that segment of growing up out of the way, just so that they can just develop into really beautiful, self-aware women.
Yeah.
So I wanted to lead by example, and I wanted to put the framework in place to ensure that they wouldn't go through that awkward moment where you think you've got to be like super light and you've got to have super long straight hair, and anything away from that means that you're not beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would say it was like a mixture of all of those. Wow. I personally love trying new products.
Yeah.
I always do clear outs and like share with my friends because I just have way too many, but I genuinely like trying new things.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share that experience with women, and I wanted to unite women under that shared experience. So that's basically like the
full sort of story behind it. Well, I guess you sort of touched on where the idea stemmed from, but where's the name actually come from TreasureTress? How's that connected to the brand?
So the name TreasureTress was the result of a brainstorming exercise, because it was like, okay, what does the brand need to be? So it needs to be about hair. So tress is just a synonym for hair.
Yeah.
And then treasure, like, what do we want women to do? Like, we want women to take care of themselves. We want them to understand that like their hair is valuable. That we want them to feel a sense of self-love, a strong sense of self-value. We want them to have an appreciation for what they naturally produce.
Yeah.
So it just kind of tied in with treasure, and then it was like treasure chest, like a play on the words treasure chest. Also because we wanted women to do some inside work as well, because I feel like in the beauty industry it's very easy just to focus on external. But obviously internal work is as important, if not more.
Yeah.
So I feel like a treasure chest, you open a treasure chest and then you see all the gems inside. So my hope is that when women go on their natural hair journey, they're able to develop in loads of other ways, and like just unveil loads of things that they didn't know about themselves, which help them fall in love with themselves even more.
Awesome. And at what point did you realise from like your youth that you wanted to go into this? Where did this come from? Because I'm sure you had a lot of passions. Why was it hair that you sort of edged towards?
I don't know, it was just natural. From like the age of 4, I remember like doing my mum's hair in school. If I was sitting behind someone, I was always doing their hair, getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So like I've always had like I've been naturally drawn to hair from like day one. I wanted to be a hairdresser.
Yeah.
but my mum was a head teacher. My grandma was a teacher, so I come from like a family of educators.
Yeah.
So that didn't go down well.
Same here.
So becoming a hairdresser just wasn't even an option.
Yeah.
But instead, I was like, okay, if I can find a way to merge business and beauty, then I will be living my best life. So TreasureTress is like the perfect combination of hair, beauty and business.
And a lot of people have multiple passions. What advice can you give to someone to follow the one that's actually going to be the right path? Because for me, for instance, I've got so many interests, but I've always wondered sometimes which path to follow as far as my passion is concerned that's going to be the right one if you're trying to merge business and passion together.
Do you know what's so funny? On the way back here, I was listening to a podcast.
Which podcast was that?
Dreams and Drive.
Dreams and Drive, on it.
I literally found... Have you heard of it?
I haven't, but I'm going to note it down.
It's really good. I literally found out about it at the beginning of this week through listening to another podcast. But she was basically saying that we shouldn't expect our passions to always make us money and we shouldn't always rely on them, which I kind of appreciate because like having the additional pressure of having to monetize your dream can sometimes ruin it for you, can ruin your passion for you. Thankfully, because I'm passionate about business and beauty together, the business side of it doesn't ruin it for me. But say you're passionate about dance, you're not passionate about business, building a dance business, you're going to fall out of love. You could fall out of love with dance because now you're having to do stuff that you didn't sign up for. Like running a dance business doesn't mean that you get to dance 24/7. It means you have to like sort out taxes, payroll and all of these really exciting other things.
Undance stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I actually don't have an answer for that.
It's a tough question.
It is a tough question. I think you just have to think logically.
Yeah.
And I think you would just evaluate it any as the same way you'd evaluate any other business idea. Like you would look at how big's the market, like is there room for you in the market, who are your main competitors, that kind of thing, and like just analyze
like rational questions.
And then maybe decide, okay, like maybe dance is not the one for me. Like there's already 1,000 dance studios. I don't want to do that. I love food. Opening a restaurant right now isn't really a viable option. Let me take that off the table. Okay, what's left here? Okay, how big is this market? Billions. Okay, let me jump into that. What's the competition like in the UK? Non-existent. Okay, let's do it. So I think that's probably like process of elimination.
Definitely.
Basically.
But I think it's a good point that don't expect to monetize your passion always. It can, a passion can just be a passion, right?
And I think that's nice. And I think that's actually something that I miss because I dropped dance really early. And for me, it was like dance and hair. And now I'm like, I've been meaning to go to a dance class for ages, but I'm like, I'm 27. Like, doing a beginner's class is just not it. But I'm going to have to do it in order to like... I'm exactly
the same, trust me. Like, I feel like I can dance okay when I've had a drink, I'm in a club, but when it comes to a class and you see some of those choreography videos, it's like, I'm not sure I can just jump straight into that.
So I'm like, now I feel like I need a passion that's not necessarily related to business, just as like a creative outlet. Hair is still a creative outlet to me. Like, I find it very therapeutic. Like, wash day is one of the most exciting days for me. But away from hair, I think I do think that I need something else to like allow me to express myself creatively as well.
Definitely. And what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in setting it up? Because you often hear an entrepreneur tell you, yep, had this idea, put it together, bish bash bosh, and then there's so much that's been missed out. But if you could pinpoint some of the biggest challenges that you could advise someone to at least be aware of when they're getting into something like this.
I think one of the biggest challenges is the internal work that you have to do, because you have to do a ton of internal work, which can't really, you can read about it in books, but it takes a lot of practical, you have to take a lot of practical steps. So like, for example, the biggest hurdle for me was leaving my very well-paid corporate role to do something completely on my own and having to face up to everyone else's opinions on what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, the fact that I was like leaving such a great situation that lots of people would want to do something that no one was sure about. So I think self-doubt is probably the biggest hurdle. And then learning just to silence the voices of others and then just tap into what you know to be true for yourself. And then doing your research and then just going at it 100% until it comes to fruition the way you want it to.
100%. And I guess sometimes entrepreneurship can look really glamorous and sexy, but as far as what a day-to-day in the life of you looks like right now, what is it that people don't see that you would sort of bring to the forefront as what it actually looks like on a day-to-day basis?
that.
Post-it notes.
Post-it
for those who can't see it.
So what I do Sundays is like my day to plan out the week. So I've got a planner there. It's literally got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So when I come in here on a Monday, I know exactly what I have to do. I don't spend time like wasting trying to do a to-do list or like going through my email. I don't let anyone dictate what I'm doing other than me.
Yeah.
So like if your email comes through and I'm deep in something else, it's gonna wait until I finish what I need to do. So I think that is a key part. But going back to what I said earlier, like the work on yourself is so important. So like meditation for me in the morning is absolutely key. Wow. Preferably going gym in the morning, which I'm doing today. Works really well for me, just helping me like get my mind in the right place, and just helping me manage stress, because it actually is quite stressful having so much responsibility.
But I feel
at
a relatively young age as well. You're relatively
and I feel like you just have to do the things personally to set you up to succeed for that day in particular. So like preparation is key, so knowing exactly what you're doing on that day, and then making sure that you're in the right mind frame, you've got the right energy, and you're ready to go at it. So for me it's like preparation is
like the most important thing you'd say.
But my day in terms of what I need to do varies dependent on what I'm doing, but a lot of it for me recently has been going really hard with the finances of the business, because I know what the statistics are like for startup businesses. I know where most of them go wrong. So for me, it's like constantly looking at our accounts. I've been very pedantic about setting up like various different accounts. So like we've got an expense account, we've got an account that's specifically for literally every area of the business has a specific account. Just so that I can keep everything separate, I can monitor it, I can make sure that we're hitting targets, and I can do it that way. So that would be like how I start out the day. Then I'll start getting into the actual box itself. So like speaking to brands, following up on new leads, building relationships, doing
it's really
phone
varied
calls, meetings. And then we do a lot of work with like just bouncing ideas around the office, because for me one of the things that I'm aware of when building a business that you actually want to last is how crucial things like culture, mission and vision are. So like making sure that we're having those conversations, like what does the culture of this company need to feel like, what is our mission, what are we working towards, like what's our ultimate vision, are we all aligned? So just doing a lot of I think it's like below the surface stuff that you have to do to ensure that you've got a solid foundation to build a really successful business and empire.
Because I guess you could talk for hours on it, because it's not even something you can just say and highlight in a short space of time.
Every day's really, really different.
As far as traits are concerned, what traits would you say are crucial, like non-compromisable, that someone needs to have to be an entrepreneur?
I feel like you need to be self-aware.
Self-aware?
Yeah. Like,
I like that one.
You need to know, because like some people just don't know, like if you're not good at something, you need to know. If you're really good at something, you need to know. And if you're not good at something, you need to not take it personally, and you need to know how to respond to feedback and criticism that you get as well.
How do you get self-aware? As far as, because some people have got like a version of who they think they are as opposed to who they really are. But how would you advise someone to actually get towards being more self-aware?
Having real relationships in your life, I think. For me, I know that my fiance helps me get very self-aware. Like we have a very honest relationship whereby if one of us is slipping and we're not doing what we need to be, or we're not doing as well as we could be, like I've got that feedback loop there. I think my friends are extremely honest as well. A lot of books that I've been reading recently encourage you to ask your friends, like, what is it that I'm good at? Okay, what is it that I can improve on? And telling them, like, I'm not going to take it personally, I just need to know.
Yeah, you need some good friends for that. Not like people aren't going to worry about potentially hurting your feelings, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think even, like, sometimes how I consume things or how I hear or understand or interpret things makes me feel like, wow, why did you interpret in that way? Like, what does that say about you? Oh, okay, maybe that's an area for you to focus on then, because why did you take it so personally? So I feel like sometimes when we get really offended about things, that's probably a good indication that there's something underlying there that we need to work on. So yeah, I think self-awareness is 100% key. Being very determined is also
the buzzwords,
key. Because like no one's gonna understand it until it starts to come to fruition, until it starts to manifest itself. No one's really gonna be that behind it, if we're being completely honest.
Did anyone tell you it was a bad idea to do what you were doing when you started this? Or you really?
No, I don't think so. I think it's because anyone that knows me knows that if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. So like you telling me that is useless, because I'm just not gonna listen. So no, I had comments like, oh, like maybe you should do it on the side while you continue to work on your job, or like, oh, like maybe it's not something that you should take full time yet. but I didn't have anyone say it was a bad idea. I did have a few like people that are completely not my demographic be like, why would anyone pay for that? Like, what's the point of that? But I was just like, you've got to know when to disregard certain comments and then when to take certain comments on. So discernment is a good one.
Yeah.
Knowing what to take on and what to leave on the table is a huge one. Being self-starting and being able to pick up skills very quickly and being able to teach yourself new skills very quickly is absolutely essential. So like Photoshop, I had to teach myself that because someone needed to design the box and I didn't have money for a designer. So I did. I feel like leveraging your network is also a very good skill, or building your network is a very good skill. So for example, the first photo shoot that we had, it was one of my closest friends who was my neighbour at university. He done the first shoot for us. I think you have to be very good at networking, so that's definitely an essential skill. In addition to that, if I had to say one more, I would say communication, because you're going to be the biggest and only salesperson for your business at the beginning. So if you're not able to tell people what you're doing and you're not able to get their support verbally, then I don't know how else you can do it at such an early stage. So I think, communication is absolutely key when it comes to building a new business. A
new business as well.
Yeah.
And I guess touching on social media, because it's such a huge part of what we're doing at the moment, and there's so many brands out there who are trying to crack it, get content right. What advice could you give to someone to get their content strategy to really drive their business and drive sales? Because it's really easy to get on social media, but from my perspective, it's not easy to do it well. So what would you say to someone to sort of really connect to the audience and potential customers?
Yeah, I think what you said, so knowing who your audience are.
Got you.
So for me, I remember someone saying to me, one of the best advantages that you have is that you are your demographic. So I know exactly like what I want to try. I know how I want to be spoken to. I know what content I want to consume. And I work with girls that fall into the demographic as well. So although there are some like slight variances, so like some people like some stuff, I don't really like it. But essentially we know that we're talking to black and mixed race women. We know that they're from the ages of 25 to 35 mostly. We know that some of them do have daughters who subscribe to our mini-me box. We know that they are they love babies. They love cute babies. They love trying new products, and they love the shared experience of opening their boxes, which means that all of our content is now curated around that. They're also very frustrated with the current narrative within the natural hair community that you have to be light-skinned with really loose curls in order to be perceived as beautiful. So for us, a lot of our page is showing an array of women. So mixed race women, black women, light-skinned women, dark-skinned women, kinky hair, curly hair. So we know that it's our duty to do that because that's what frustrates our community and that's also what they're passionate about. So I feel like the best thing you can do is know who you're speaking to and then learn their language and then speak their language.
Definitely.
Sharp photography and imagery is like an absolute must. Like you cannot have blurred photos. Sometimes leave the filters alone. And even download apps that help you like increase the brightness of photographs to make them more attractive, more appealing. Look at your insights.
Definitely.
Notice what people are looking at. Notice what they're saving, what they're bookmarking. Because that's probably more valuable than a like, because if they've saved it, that means that they're going to go back to it and they're going to show someone and they're going to do something with the content. So I think use the tools that social media has available, but then also go the step further and actually interpret that data and then put it into action. So know how to dissect from the insights. What is important? Okay, what's it saying to me? How do these people like to be spoken to? Okay, this is how I should speak to them then.
This is where like data analysis stuff really and truly is. But I guess people don't almost view social media like that, but you kind of have to. And I feel like the best influencers, I don't feel like they grow by accident. Like they know what people like to see. It's very intentional.
And they give them more. So that's what social media is. Like you learn what people want to see, you learn how they want to be spoken to, and you just keep doing that.
Definitely. And I guess that ties into the next question regarding what you want the brand to stand for. So it's obviously got its core principles today, but what would you describe the brand and what do you want it to stand for and be remembered for moving forward?
Essentially, I want TreasureTress to stand for and be remembered for redefining standards of black beauty. Because as I said at the moment, there's a very skewed opinion like in mainstream media of what beauty actually is. As far as our vision, we're definitely determined to unite women across Europe and allow them to speak the universal language of beauty. So, for example, if you meet a French woman, she doesn't speak English, but she's got natural hair. Yeah. Like, you can look at each other and almost non-verbally communicate because you have that understanding of natural hair. Okay, black woman, black beauty. Like, we get it. So just unifying women across Europe, because in America they have the African American identity. There isn't necessarily an Afro-European identity.
That's right.
So TreasureTress is going to create that.
Cool. And as far as next steps or exciting plans that you've got, I know there's probably so much you can disclose to me, but is there anything that you're working on or a goal that you want to achieve that you haven't quite achieved yet with TreasureTress?
So the next thing that we're working on is a pop-up shop on the 23rd to the 24th of November.
Awesome.
It's taking place in Peckham. And that is just literally the embodiment of what we would want the shopping experience to be like for black women. So we want to challenge retailers to raise the bar. And we want to demonstrate to them what it should look like when you're trying to cater to black women, when you want to sell them products. Like, this is the environment that they deserve, and this is the environment and the level of service that they expect. So on the day we've got a braid bar, a nail bar, and we've got empty TreasureTress boxes with an array of products, and you get to literally pick and pack your own box. So you get to choose your favourite brand, your favourite products, and then walk away with that. So that's like the most important thing that we're working on right now. Also really important because it is our 3rd birthday. So it will officially be 3 years of TreasureTress.
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Just 3 years?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
When people say that, I'm like, it feels like it's been a lifetime.
Yeah. Feels like it's been a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Cool. Quick fire round.
Yeah.
10 questions, just need the first answers that come to your mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
Cool, so describe yourself in 3 words.
Hard-headed, honest, authentic.
One book that's had a big impact on your life.
Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
One person that's had a big impact on your life.
My mum.
What's the best professional advice you've ever been given?
Never burn bridges. You never know who you might meet later on in life, so always be kind to everyone because you don't know what they're going through and you don't know who they're going to become. Okay.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Turn off my alarm.
Snooze.
And snooze for an extra 5 minutes. On good days, meditate. On bad days, Instagram and email.
Yeah, every day for me that is. What's the last thing you do before you go to bed?
Meditate and try to run through my mind what I'm grateful of from the day that I've just had.
Love that. Dead or alive, what 3 people would you love to have dinner with?
Oh, Oprah, Beyonce, Will Smith.
Will Smith, great choice. He's like everyone for me. What is something new that you've learned in the past month?
Something new that I've learned in the past month.
Or year.
Would be that it's okay to merge your private and your professional life. So I feel like where I was in a very corporate world, it was very much like, okay, you have your work persona, have your home persona, but I find that I enjoy very much involving my friends in all of the projects I do. I find it very easy to work with women that I already know, and I feel like it just makes it easier to be able to just work with everyone, merge everyone, have everyone know each other. Yeah. Cool.
What is your life theme song?
Cardi B, Living My Best Life.
Good choice. Last question, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Mac and cheese.
That was a straightforward mac and cheese answer. Cool, I love it. Jollof rice for me, Nigerian, right? Cool. Thank you very much. Pleasure, thank you so much. Yeah.